My apologies. I think I was muted. Happy New Year, everyone, and good morning. Um, Welcome to Relationship Communications Weekly Live. This is from our new Facebook group. Well, it's the same Facebook group, just with a new name, okay? Relationship Communications. And I'm Lisa DeToffel, your host. And today we are going to talk about boundaries and setting boundaries, okay? Relationship communications is a tactical and practical. Our weekly live is a tactical and practical show that we do every week at the same time. It's going to be Friday mornings at 10 a.m. So I hope you'll put that on your calendar and join us every Friday at 10 a.m. for our weekly lives. We are sponsored by Tiger Eye Solution. And at Tiger Eye Solution, we work with speakers, coaches, and solo professionals to help them grow their business so that they can enjoy being the CEO and enjoy what they love doing within their business. So we do this virtually and in our online community. And I do encourage even those that are new to the community. We do have some new members in our Facebook group. So if you are new, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do. You can go live, do that, or you can just, make a post or put it in the comments below this video if you like. To just kind of introduce yourself, let us know who you are and what you do and who you like to work with. This is a referral type community and networking type community. So, those other members can kind of get to know you a little bit and about what you do and possibly refer others to you. Also, I encourage new members and old members alike to schedule coffee chats with each other, one-on-one conversations to get to know each other better and get to know each other's business better and see how you can collaborate and help each other, okay? So definitely put some of those coffee chats on your calendar as well. I also want to say, you may be viewing this video on our YouTube channel. This video goes on our YouTube channel, so go ahead and subscribe to our channel so that you will be notified every time that we do go live. So before we go into dive into our topic, I want to talk a little bit about myself and introduce myself. I know we have some new people here, and lots of people have been joining the Facebook group and following us on YouTube. So I know a lot of people are thinking about what they might want to do in 2023 and what's coming up next. So what do you want to do and what changes do you want to make? And networking is really at the forefront of that, okay? So welcome. Introduce myself a little bit. I'm Lisa DeToffel again, and this was me about, oh my goodness, almost 5 years ago. As I was a preschool teacher prior to starting my business. So this was me in the classroom with the little ones. Don't get me wrong, I loved being in the classroom with the little ones. I loved learning from them just as they learned from me and building relationships with them as well. So relationship building for me started many, many, many years ago before I even thought of starting my own business, okay? Working in the classroom with those little ones, I did have to build those one-on-one relationships in order to get to know them and what their needs were so I could help them and teach them the exact things they needed, right? I mean, yes, we learn things as a class, as a whole, but especially in the very early years, because like I said, this was preschool, 3-4-year-olds, they need individualized attention as well and individualized things taught to them, because everyone doesn't learn the same way. Just like in the business world, everybody's business is not the same, right? So I transitioned that from being in the classroom into my business, and that is why I actually specialize in relationship management. That's part of what I do in my business. So moving forward, starting my business in 2018, I did take a training program for about a year with a coach and trainer for virtual assistants. And then, of course, Tiger Eye Solution was born. During that time is when I actually started my business and learned how important relationship building was. So I chose that as one of my niche areas and a service that I would want to provide in my virtual assistant business when I got it started. And again, 2020, of course, the pandemic hits, and I realized that I could possibly offer more. So I decided to build a team for Tiger Eye Solution. And I did just that. There are currently 11 virtual assistants on the Tiger Eye Solution team. We are all experts, or we all specialize in a specific area. So if you'd like to learn more about that, please do reach out. I would love to have a conversation with you and talk to you more about Tiger Eye Solution. And then this is my why. This is why I do everything that I do, right? I started out in the preschool area when my older children were smaller. And one of the reasons why I chose that industry and that field to go into was because I needed a place where my children could go with me, or come to after school, when they were during their school years. So that's why I went into that industry, and that helped me get through those years. I've been a single mom twice during my motherhood years, so that was very, very beneficial for me and my older children. Well, even my youngest children too, because when she was born, I was still in that industry. But childcare in a preschool classroom, in a school, I've done all the different things over the years working with small children. But this is why I did that then, and this is why I do what I do now. My family. This is my husband, Jeff, my oldest son, Caleb, his wife, Abby. Caleb's a firefighter. Abby is a special eds teacher at a local high school here, and they are actually expecting twins in February. So they will be making me a grandmother in just a matter of weeks. So we're all super excited about that. My middle son graduated college in 2021 and now works for Apple, and he's enjoying what he does. And then my daughter is the baby. She's still here at home, and she's a sophomore in high school. So this is my why of what I have done in the past and what I am currently doing. This is why I get up and do what I do every day, right? Okay. Sorry, let me go back. So let's go back to, hold on just a second, sorry. Let's go back to boundaries, because that's what we're going to be talking about today, okay? So, and as I'm talking, if you are watching live, please let me know where you're coming in from. I introduced myself, told you a little bit about me. I would love to hear the same from you in the comments below the video, especially if you're new to my community or new, to me listening to my lives or anything. But we do this weekly live every Friday morning at 10 a.m. and we talk about tactical and practical things around the business world, professional world. Okay. So let's dive into boundaries and why you need them, why you need to set them. It's a new year. I know you probably have set some goals for the new year going forward. In our last weekly live of 2022, we talked about those goals, because goal setting is something that most everyone does when a new year starts. So I do hope you have your goals now set and in place and ready to move forward now that we are into the new year. Boundaries is also important because it sets you up it's part of setting yourself up and setting your business up for success. Okay. And that's definitely what we're all looking for, right? Whether it's a new year or not a new year, we're all looking for that success, right? All right. So setting boundaries. You are in charge of your boundaries. Lots of times we will set the boundaries and then we don't enforce them, right? So let's talk more specifically about exactly what a boundary is. A boundary is a line, like a line in the sand, okay, that marks the limits of an area. Okay, it's very simple. It's just like draw the line in the sand. This is my boundary. Don't come over this line, or this is something I'm not going to do or I am going to do. The limits of your work, the limits of your availability. Okay, so that would be like your clients or your customers. All our businesses are different. So we could have clients, we could have customers. But you want to make sure they know what your boundaries are. You want to make sure they know when you're available to work. You may choose to work 9 to 5, just Monday through Friday. You don't work on weekends, whatever you choose for your business. And that could look differently for all of us, right? I myself am getting ready to enforce some new boundaries in the new year because there's some things that are going to be changing in my business. So yes, I have sat down and wrote my goals out for 2023, but I have also made some new boundaries, set some new boundaries as well, just because of some of the things that I'm choosing to change within my business. Okay. So I'd like to hear from you. Comment below maybe some of the boundaries you have in place. Maybe you've had them in place since you started your business, or maybe you're setting some new ones in the new year, like I am for myself. Yes, I've always had boundaries. I do have set hours that I work, and I don't work weekends. No, I make sure my clients know that up front, that Tiger Eye Solution doesn't work weekends. And we have set specific set hours, Monday through Friday, that we do work. So, and that specific time is when we are available if they need to contact us for any reason, for give us a new task, or they have a question, or whatever the case may be. So I'd like to hear from you. So put it in the comments, if you have set boundaries, if you actually enforce those boundaries, or are you one of those, that yes, you set the boundary, but then you don't always enforce it. Okay. I apologize this morning. I have a little bit of a scratchy throat. So, how many of you pour tons of emotions into your boundary setting? You go, a lot of us do that, right? You may think, what are they going to think of me? Or what if I don't deliver the product or the services fast enough for them? You might think that the client or the customer is thinking that. What if they find someone else? That's a possibility too. I do have some notes here, so if you see me looking down at my notes. Sometimes, it's just the way we don't enforce those boundaries. Like I said before, we might set them, but we don't stick to them. Okay. So you definitely need to set your boundaries and stick to the boundaries. Let them know up front. Okay, my hours are 9 to 5. If you need me anytime during that time, give me a call, send me an email. Make sure you're clear on the specific type of communication that they prefer. They may want to give you a call when something comes up, but you also may want to let them know that you may or may not be available to answer that call at the very moment they call. If I'm in a Zoom call with someone and my phone rings, I can't answer it. They can kindly leave me a message, let me know who they are, what the call is regarding, and I can call them back. You have to set those specific boundaries, right? Let them know up front, my business, or I don't work on weekends. So if there's something that, say you're done at 5 p.m. on Fridays, and there's something that comes up at 6 or 7 on a Friday, and they try to send it to you, when are you going to get that? On Monday morning when you come back to your office, or when you come back to work, right? So let them know what to expect when they are working with you, okay? Or with your company or your business. This is our expectations. This is what we can do for you. And this is the fashion we're going to do it in. And this is the time frame we're going to do it in. And this is when we're available. Make sure they know every one of those, if that's the specific boundaries you have set for your business, or that you would like to set for your business. Okay. So whatever you choose for your boundaries, these are your boundaries. So don't just tell them once and expect them to remember to care. Because 9 times out of 10, that's not going to happen. right? So an example, if I get a new client for Tiger Eye Solution, yes, I will speak my boundaries to them. Like, say I have a consultation call and we decide, yes, we're going to work together. I explain to them up front how everything works. What exactly is going to take place to get them onboarded as a new client. I'm going to send you this, or I'm going to send you this. You need to sign this or pay this, or whatever the case is, right? So let them know what to expect and what you expect in return from them. Okay? This assures them that you will let them know what you need, because that's what they assume anyway. If they do choose to come on board and work with you, then they assume you're going to let them know more specifically of exactly what you need in order to do the work that they're hiring you to do, right? So, but you need to remember also that it might take more than one time to get your boundary point across. Yes, like I said, in the very beginning, I will let them know what my boundaries are. I don't work on weekends, or this is our specific hours, etc. However, those same boundaries I might verbally speak to them, I'm also going to include in a welcome email. If they're a new client just coming in to work with Tiger Eye Solution, there's many different things a new client gets. It's called the onboarding process is what we do. And a welcome email is part of that. So my boundaries, again, are going to be listed there to let them know. This is when we work. This is how you can reach us. We don't work weekends, whatever specific boundaries that we have. You're welcome to call us. You're welcome to email us, whatever. So you can think of it like the rules of the road, right? When you're driving on the road, there's definitely rules that you have to follow, right? So when a client or customer is working with you, there needs to be specific rules or boundaries that they need to follow, right? That helps it go more smoothly. You want that relationship between you and your client, or you and your customer, to be a smooth one, a progressive one, as you're progressing to work with them on this project, or maybe it's ongoing that you're going to be working with them, whatever the case may be. You definitely want it to go smoothly. So the rules of the road are, they're not contracting. They're there to keep you safe, right? Same thing within your business. You want them to feel safe working with you. You want them to trust you, right? So you don't want to, we'll go back to the 6 p.m., your actual hours. If your hours are 9 to 5 and a client or customer actually sends you an email or tries to call you at 6 p.m. at night, you just happen to still be in your office or at your desk, and you take that call or you respond to that email. So what are they going to think? Okay, she told me her hours are 9 to 5, but yes, it's 6 p.m. and I'm sending her this, and she jumped right on it. Right? That's not what you want to portray. Like I said before, you set your own rules and you set your own boundaries. So you just need to consistently enforce them and follow them yourself, right? So yes, you want to continuously make sure your clients and customers know what your boundaries or your rules are, but you definitely want to make sure that you're following through with them as well. So if you do happen to still be at your desk or working at 6 p.m. at night, don't answer that email or that phone call. Wait till the next day, the next business day when you're going to be working. Because people are smart, okay? And they watch what you do more sometimes than what you say. So yeah, you may tell them you work 9 to 5, but yet if they're sending you an email as to something else they want you to do at 6 p.m. at night and you jump on it and do it, What kind of message are you sending? Right? Your behavior is what will train the people you work with. So, like I said before, yes, you can tell them up front, but they're not going to remember it. So you have to continuously keep reminding them, what your boundaries are or what your rules are. But your behavior also has to portray that. Right? So you tell them you work 9 to 5, you work 9 to 5. So don't answer that call or don't answer that email when it comes in at 6 p.m. just because you happen to still be sitting at your desk at that time, maybe finishing up something else. Right? So your behavior is what will train them in the direction you want them to go. So if you want them to respect and care of what your actual office hours are, the 9 to 5, then that's what your behavior has to portray, right? So you definitely don't want to do that task that comes in at 6 o'clock. Because if you do, then that's what they're going to continue to expect, right? Because they're going to believe your actions or your behavior over what you're actually telling them. I always like to say actions speak louder than words. You can even ask my family. I say that all the time. Even in my personal life, I use that as well. So if you're telling me one thing, your actions better be showing me the same thing. And a lot of times it doesn't. That's kind of why I use that in my personal life, because my family might tell me one thing and do the exact opposite. Well, it's the same thing in the professional world. So if you're telling your client or your customer you don't work on weekends, then don't be working on weekends. I mean, you may actually be in your office on a Saturday doing something or finishing up something maybe you didn't finish on Friday, and that's perfectly fine if you choose to do that. However, don't be responding to anything from clients, because that action is going to show them, oh, she must be working today. Let me send her this, or let me give her a call because I have a question. Don't do that. Right? And the emotion piece of it, that kind of comes from the emotions too. So you need to remove your emotions. Because, if you are responding, if you happen to be in your office at 6, still working on something or finishing something up, and you do respond or you do answer that phone, that could be from emotions as well. So you need to remove your emotions because it's really not necessary. You are a professional. You want to conduct yourself or act like a professional, right? So there are a couple reasons we let go of our boundaries. Like I said in the beginning, we might set the boundaries, but we don't enforce them completely. So one of those reasons is fear. We are afraid maybe that, if we don't respond quickly, that the client or the customer is going to go away. We're going to lose them. No, that's not necessarily going to happen just because you don't respond to that email or answer that phone call at 6 p.m. after hours, basically. Another one is people pleasing. Maybe you put other people first at all costs. And that's something you don't want to do either. So you need to remove the emotions that you may have attached to that, right? I mean, I'm sure all of us, I've been there myself in the very beginning. When I first started my business, yes, I had some issues with some of these things I'm talking about with setting my boundaries. My boundaries have changed. Trust me, things change over the years as you continue to move forward. And you can change your boundaries at any time. If the boundaries you currently have or the boundaries you had in 2022 are no longer going to serve you in 2023, you can change them. Some of mine are going to be changing because there's certain things that are going to be changing in my business. in 2023. So yes, some of my boundaries are going to change because I have chose to make some changes in my business. Okay. And this also can make people uncomfortable sometimes. Like if you're just trying to please them at that very moment, yeah, it can make them very uncomfortable. Like they think you're just, I really don't know how to explain. I mean, there's several different ways to explain that. But you don't want to just put everything or everyone above yourself or put them first, no matter what the cost. Because in the end, it's not going to turn out the way you want it, right? So, and like I said, it can make some people uncomfortable. I'm one of those people. Sometimes that does make me uncomfortable. It depends upon the exact situation and the exact person, right? They may be trying to help me do something, but I may or may not specifically ask them to help. So they're not really serving a purpose. Okay. All right. Why do you want to keep your boundaries? Let me tell you what can happen when you keep your boundaries. Or when you don't keep your boundaries. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. When you don't keep your boundaries, this can happen. You can get burnt out. That's not a good place to be. You're not going to be beneficial or serving your clients and customers as your best self if you get burnt out, right? So you definitely want to be your best self when you are serving your clients or customers. You can get resentful. Maybe, if you are sitting at your desk or finishing something up at 6 p.m. after your hours have ended at 5, and somebody does try to call you, like, why are they trying to call me now? They know I'm not working. You can get resentful toward that person that's trying to call or that client or customer that's trying to contact you. And you don't want to do that either. So again, when we don't respect or keep our boundaries, we are not our best selves because those emotions take over, right? And you are emotional. So remove the emotion attachment. Don't let that be, an issue for you with your boundaries, and set your boundaries to best serve you and your business, right? If you put boundaries in place that's going to serve you and because all our businesses are different, right? So the boundaries I have in place for Tiger Eye Solution may not be the best boundaries for you and your business because your business is different than mine. So you definitely, as you're making those goals, starting this new year, make sure you have the correct boundaries in place for your business. That's going to help move your business forward. That's going to help you have the relationship that you want with your clients and customers, because that's important. And like I said, people are smart and they're going to figure it out pretty quickly. Yeah, this is what she told me to expect in the very beginning when we first started working together. However, this is what she's doing. Right? So there again, make sure when you do put those boundaries in place or set those boundaries that your actions are the same as what you say. Right? Let your actions speak for you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for being here today. Again, welcome to all the new members of the Facebook community. We're so happy that you're here. Again, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, what your business is, and how you help others. We would love to hear from you. And go ahead and mark your calendars. Every Friday morning at 10 a.m., I will do the weekly live. That is a little bit different than last year. This is our first weekly live of 2023. So thank you so much for joining me or actually listening to the replay. So if you're not here live, you can just put #replay to let me know that you are watching this later. And if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. That way you can be notified every time that we go live. So I hope this was a great information for you. I hope it was beneficial for you. Again, Happy New Year, and I will see you again same time next Friday. Have a great weekend.